We start in Singapore today, where President Yoon Suk Yeol is actively engaged in the second leg of his Southeast Asia tour. I have our correspondent Kim Do-yeon, who is part of the presidential press corps, standing by live with details. Do-yeon, it's great to have you on. Do start us off.
Honey, President Yoon landed here in Singapore late last night and started his official engagements earlier today. President Yoon and Prime Minister Wong signed various agreements to forge stronger ties, especially in the economic sector. First, let's take a listen to what the two leaders said about the bilateral relationship overall.
아시아의 발전과 번영을 선도해온 우리 두 국가가 이제는 AI, 디지털, 녹색 경제 분야를 아우르는 미래 선두주자로 자리매김하고 있습니다. 오늘 웡 총리님과 저는 양국의 우호 협력을 더욱 미래지향적이고 호혜적으로 발전시켜 나가는 방안을 심도 있게 논의했습니다.
Our two countries have many things in common. We were both Asian tigers that successfully transformed our economies. Korea, of course, has done this on a much bigger scale. You have one of the world's largest economies, powered by innovative chaebols, SMEs, and startups, as well as a trend-setting culture which has taken the world by storm.
Now, to get to the specifics, the most notable agreement the two made was the supply chain partnership arrangement. This is the first bilateral agreement specifically for supply chain disruption response for both nations. The two nations will get together to hold an emergency meeting within 5 days of the moment they identify such a situation. For example, we saw a few years ago a global urea shortage causing concerns over the operation of diesel vehicles in South Korea. Singapore is a global logistics hub with the second largest port in the world. So this agreement will allow South Korea to resolve such natural resource supply issues. Also, the two leaders agreed to liquefied natural gas cooperation. This paves the way for two nations to swap or jointly buy LNG supplies. The two nations are big in LNG exports despite having no natural reserves.
Right. Do-yeon, also come next year, the two countries celebrate their 50th anniversary of diplomatic relations. And I hear their leaders have agreed to further elevate their ties. Do tell us more.
That's right. Singapore, as we saw just yesterday from the Philippines, South Korea's level of diplomatic relations with Southeast Asian countries is getting higher overall. But the strategic partnership with Singapore will kick off next year in the light of the 50th anniversary of diplomatic relations. Now, take a look at what's being prepared.
이를 위해 양국은 주요 분야에서 전략적 공조를 더욱 강화해 나가기로 했습니다. 특히 미래 발전의 원동력이 될 AI를 포함한 첨단 기술과 스타트업 분야의 협력을 심화시켜 나갈 것입니다.
The two leaders signed an MOU for advanced technology cooperation and another for startup cooperation. Singapore is one of the world's powerhouses for AI while having strong biomedical industry. South Korea is strong in manufacturing cars and electronics and chips. So according to the top office, the synergy effect for this will be big. And as President Yoon said, this is what the next phase of the bilateral relationship will be based on. Meanwhile, a total of 17 agreements were signed by the two nations. Now, President Yoon still has one more day in Singapore. Before wrapping up his visit, he will also take part in the Distinguished Singapore Lecture Series organized by a leading think tank, IC's Yusof Ishak Institute, to introduce Korea's Indo-Pacific strategy, the country's cooperation with ASEAN, and the prospect for peace and prosperity in the region if his vision of Korean unification is achieved. That's all for now. Back to you.